welcome to Big Little Stories. I'm Ivy Sharmetz. I am so excited for this conversation today. One of my colleagues at my day job over at Mercury Public Affairs is probably one of the bravest hikers I know. He has adventured around the country and around the world and has the most amazing, awe-inspiring pictures to show for it. He's really an amazing photographer. When he's here at home, he isn't just finding trails to explore or cool places to take pictures. He is volunteering his time to make sure everyone has an opportunity to experience and appreciate nature, especially kids. Juan Melli is not only my colleague and my good friend, he is the board president of Team Wilderness, which is a nonprofit based in Hudson County that introduces nature to kids who may not otherwise have that experience. Thank you so much for being here, Juan.
It's great to be here. This is fun.
Yeah, this is fun. So I want to start with you a little bit, and where did your appreciation and love of nature come from? Was this something that, were you always outside as a kid? Were you always finding cool trails to explore?
I spent a few years of my childhood in Minnesota. So we spent some time up in Duluth by the Great Lakes. But I really was not a very outdoorsy person most of my life. About 10 or 15 years ago, my brothers live in California, and one of them invited me out to Yosemite. And I really did not used to enjoy hiking. It to me, I always thought of it as work. It's exercise and not something like fun. But he convinced me to go out there with him, and I was just kind of in awe by the natural beauty of it. And he took me out on a couple of hikes that just kind of opened my eyes to the experience. And I returned a few more times to the Yosemite and other parts of the Sierra, and I just kind of fell in love with it. And that was really the beginning for me of an adventure.
And then it started to have it made you feel different too, right? You weren't just appreciating what you were doing, but it sort of had an effect on you, would you say?
Yeah. And I would notice, I really got into hiking. So I would try to go out every weekend if I could. At least that was my goal. And I would really notice it at work. On Mondays, if I would show up at work, and I hadn't gone hiking that weekend, my stress level was way higher. And I started to make the connection that hiking for me and being in nature wasn't so much a physical activity, but also like a mental reset that I needed. And it was really through going back to work on Mondays when I kind of made that connection.
So it wasn't a deliberate thing that you were doing? You weren't saying, okay, I'm going out on this hike and I'm going to think about this and not this? Because I think you've also said that sometimes when you're on the hike, it helps you come up with some creative ideas too, right? There's kind of in the back of your brain, things are sort of marinating.
Yeah, and especially, that's absolutely true. And especially when I go alone. I like to hike alone sometimes. I like hiking with my kids and with friends, but I also enjoy going alone. And that's when you're disconnected from your screen. You're not in front of a computer and emails. And I've noticed that's when your mind can kind of just wander. And when that happens, yes, I've come up with some of my best work ideas while I'm just out hiking. And I'm not out there looking to create ideas or think, but I've noticed it creates the opportunity for that to happen.
Yeah.
And it's something that during the week I really don't. I realize I'm not really doing that thoughtful level of thinking, I guess, that I can do when I'm out in nature, not
Right.
distracted.
And you mentioned you bring your kids. Was it a hard sell for them, or were they excited to kind of go out with their dad and explore, or are they still sort of in the process of learning to love it as much as you do?
It's a hard sell.
Okay.
It's a hard sell, but I've made adjustments. I used to take them on kind of longer hikes, and because I find that enjoyable, and I definitely have shifted to making choices for trips that they find enjoyable. So, but it's also been rewarding to see them evolve and grow as they grow up. When we would start to go out on hikes in nature, my kids would find rocks to be interesting, just a boring gray rock, or a squirrel. We live in a pretty urban area in
Hmm.
Hoboken, and so we don't have a lot of wildlife. So very basic, um, or a deer. But as they've grown up, you know, uh, a year or two ago, one of my sons pointed out, like, look at that sunset, Dad. Isn't that
Oh,
beautiful? Let's
wow.
sit down and watch. So it's interesting to see them kind of develop and appreciate different things as they grow.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I mentioned that you are one of the bravest hikers that I know because you go all over the place. What are some of the highlights for you, just so people kind of get a sense when I say that you have literally hiked everywhere? What are some of your favorite spots?
My favorite spots are the lower Sierra, so like the southern part of the Sierra. It's more rugged. Sequoia National Park, Kings Canyon, kind of like the Mount Whitney area. And I love the Tetons, so like Grand Teton National Park, because you get glaciers, you get just spectacular mountains, and the wildlife. You get
Mm.
um, moose, bighorn, grizzlies. So the combination of those is just for me. I love Wyoming. I love the Sierra.
All right, so let's bring it back home though for a second. I'm going to talk about Team Wilderness. So Team Wilderness is about providing access to nature to kids who wouldn't necessarily have that opportunity, right? What does that mean? How do you do that?
Well, if I can take a step back,
Yeah.
you know, for me, like I was saying before, I started to realize what a benefit I was getting from experiencing the outdoors. Um, and and I think scientists have known this for a while. It's not just physical health benefits, but mental health,
Mm.
cognitive benefits. You're able to concentrate better. It just calms the mind. You become more creative. So I started experiencing all these benefits, and one of the first things I did a couple of years ago is became a trail maintainer, and that was a way to um, acknowledge that all that I was benefiting from these trails. I wanted a way to kind of give back and help others experiencing them.
Mm.
So I started doing that, and then I learned about this organization called Team Wilderness um, that uses the outdoors to bring these benefits to kids in primarily Hudson County. And I reached out, and I just love the mission of uh, of providing these benefits to kids that otherwise would not have access to
Right.
nature.
Right.
Um, so to me, that's it's a mission I'm really passionate about.
When you're saying nature, what are you including in nature? You're talking about, is it just hikes? Is it just kind of experiencing and loving the outdoors?
Yeah, it's everything. It is hikes, it's camping, it's backpacking, but through Team Wilderness, we take kids rappelling off of waterfalls. We take them kayaking in the Hudson River, so it's near to home for them. Even kind of walks in Liberty State Park and other programs. So it doesn't need to be a huge adventure or whatever, but um, getting out, disconnecting, experiencing nature, you still get those benefits.
And I think it was on the website that I saw that for more than 80% of the kids, this is their first time engaging in an experience like this. So this must have a pretty big impact on their lives.
Yeah, the program was started by a high school teacher in Jersey City, and and the way it started was these kids asked him, like, "What'd you do over the weekend?" And he said, "I went hiking or I went camping." And their response to him was, "Oh, that's white people things."
Mm.
And 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 he kind of took that as a challenge, and as an opportunity to, he'd asked them, "Have you guys gone hiking?" And they said no. And he ended up creating an after school club to go hiking, and we can go into it more, but he kind of explained to them that there are a lot of these barriers to these
Mm.
kids getting outdoors, and some of them go back decades actually, and there are, there could be park systems that are troubling and have bad policies. There could be park rangers that are bad, but nature is not bad. Nature is good, and he wanted to expose them to that. So he created this after school club, and it just became so popular, and eventually turned into Team Wilderness.
One of the statistics that I actually saw on your website is that on average, kids spend up to 9 hours indoors daily watching or using screens. And for younger children, it's 4 to 8 hours. So is this a hard sell to get kids off their phones and away from their screens? Or do you find that there's a desire, like a yearning to kind of break away from some of that for them?
Um, it can be a hard sell. Definitely, once they start doing it, they I think um, unexpectedly enjoy it and want to come back,
Mm.
and the kids love it. Um, it's interesting. It's not even so much the screen time that's the issue. A lot, these kids grow up in an urban environment. Going outdoors is not, for many of them, just part of their experience.
Mm.
We had, you know, we've had one of the challenges has been, uh, just the parents or even grandparents of these kids. You're taking them camping. Um, you know,
Because it's unfamiliar
these
to them,
grandparents.
right? It's not something that they're familiar with, so it's almost like you're convincing the parents and the grandparents that it's something cool to do or
Yeah,
good to do.
we have literally heard from grandparents who remember a time when the parks were still segregated,
Okay.
right? And so that was not an experience that was good for them. That they that experience, and also the woods were a place where bad things happen to people, right?
Mm.
Sometimes. So so this was not an experience that they passed down to their children, and they passed down to their children. So um, there are kind of these historic associations with the outdoors that are negative, and part of it is overcoming that.
Mm.
Um, but once you overcome that, the kids really love it, and they react very positively, and they want to come back year after year.
When we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I actually have some reaction from some of the kids that I actually was reading about, and I want to share that with you and get your reaction. So we are going to take a short break, and we will be back with more Big Little Stories in just a minute. So when we were talking about the impact that this experience has on kids, and I went on Team Wilderness's website, and I just wanted to read some of these things to you because I was so moved by this. One student said there was lots of climbing, and it seemed like rocks were everywhere, but it was somehow fun. Being able to do it feels good. I was proud of myself. Another student said Team Wilderness has done a lot to make me the person that I am today. I've learned so much about myself through these experiences. And another student said, Team Wilderness is the safe haven and escape place that I have. When you hear that kind of feedback from kids, I mean, I imagine that must feel so good. What does it feel like for you?
Yeah, we hear that a lot, and I mean that's the reason we're doing this,
Mm.
right? It's about we know all of the benefits of nature, and these kids in particular, a lot of them have a lot of challenges at home and with their daily lives, and is climbing a mountain that you know not too far from us, right? 20,
Yeah.
30 miles away, could be not a huge mountain, but they really feel a sense of accomplishment. And when they do that, they do translate that to, if I can overcome that, I can overcome these other challenges, right? So it is empowering. It gives them kind of confidence. And that's one of the real, you know, reasons we do this to really empower them. And
It's
it
so
helps
that
them grow.
Oh, I was just going to say it's interesting because you're taking them outside so that what's inside of them can be nurtured and you can grow what's inside and solidify what's inside of them by going outside. And I think that's a really cool aspect of this. I know photography is a passion of yours, and I know that Team Wilderness has I know very well that photography is a passion of yours, and you're a phenomenal photographer, and I'm very jealous of the shots that you get because they're gorgeous. But photography is one of there's a photography club for the kids. So how did that come about? And that adds a very, I think, beautiful layer to experiencing nature because you're really seeing nature for the beauty that exists.
Yeah, I love that club. It's so they learn technical skills, they go out on trips, and sometimes it could be uh, through Jersey City, and they could do kind of urban photography,
Mm,
or it might take them to Liberty State Park and do nature photography. But one of the things that it does is they learn to see things through the lens of a camera. So you learn to see what might be your backyard in a different way. So experience things differently. And then one of the really great things about the program, you're not just learning the technical skills, you're not just spending time outside, but then we actually teach the kids how to print. They make their own prints. They select the photos. They choose prints, the dimensions, and then they participate in an art gallery. And then whatever they sell, they get to keep the profits from it.
oh wow.
So they learn kind of the business side of it, the skills, and they learn a whole variety of skills through it. So it's kind of multifaceted.
And there's something, if you're not in photography, I know there are a couple of other club type activities that Team Wilderness offers. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's interesting that it feels like whatever, I know some of it is based on your age as well, right? When and what some of your options could be.
Yeah. So there's a variety of clubs. Some are after school and they go on hikes. Some include academic coaching. Uh, so we use the outdoors as a way to kind of bring all the benefits that it offers, but we're also a little bit more holistic about it. So it's
Mm.
about supporting them academically. It's supporting mental health. So we have um, all different programs, and then we've also seen um, that especially critical years are the first 2 years of college. So we've kind of expanded into supporting them as they're moving into college also, because we had seen that you're supporting these kids through high school, um, but that transition into college also is really critical. So we've kind of expanded the programming to support them also. Uh, we have in the summer backpacking trips that they take multiple days in the Catskills. So it really varies. We go kayaking, they go hiking, but it's also tutoring and academic support and kind of just all around supporting their well-being.
And I love that idea that you're using the outdoors as sort of the foundation for all of this and expanding it beyond that. You
Yeah.
have this great love and appreciation for nature, but I'm wondering, has this work introduced a new layer of appreciation for you and kind of seeing it through the kids' eyes for maybe the first or second time?
Yeah. It's interesting. I've seen that through my own kids, right? As I mentioned, but I have joined Team Wilderness on some outings, and I'll think about some of the local parks that I've been to that, um, maybe I've been to a dozen times and aren't really that so interesting to me anymore. But then you go with these kids and you listen to them as they talk about you know, walking uphill and it's a struggle and they're struggling through it. But then when they get to the top, they get to that viewpoint,
Mm.
they really feel that sense of awe and accomplishment. And that's just super rewarding. And I love seeing them kind of um, feel that and kind of uh, that's why I love this organization, because it's about empowering kids that way and kind of giving them that confidence that they can, literally climb a mountain.
So we've been talking about kids and your kids, but I know this is something your dad has sort of gotten into as well. How did that come about? Because he was not always a hiker, right?
Yeah, so my dad is my backpacking buddy. We probably almost the last 10 years we try to go backpacking every summer. Out west, we've backpacked the John Muir Trail together over 3 years and done a bunch of backpacking in the Wind River Range. He recently also attempted to climb Aconcagua, which is the highest mountain in the Americas in Argentina. So yeah, for us, backpacking has been like a really great way to connect with each other, and it's just a awesome experience. And it's something I like to do with my kids also.
You had mentioned this too, but so going back to Team Wilderness for a second, the majority of the kids who participate in Team Wilderness, I think it's like 95%, live in Hudson County. The rest are like New York City area. But if someone's listening
Yeah.
to this and they're thinking like, I want to experience this. I could use the mental health boost. I could use some, a nice walk or experience through nature. What should they do? And I'm asking this as someone, for full disclosure, when I originally told you I want to start doing this, I was like, and I bought hiking boots. You said to me, the first thing I would tell you is you don't have to buy hiking boots. So what do you tell someone who like wants to, like, I don't know, is it just about going outside, going for a walk?
It is literally just going for a walk. Hiking is just walk. It's that simple. So you don't need fancy clothes. Wear comfortable shoes, but you don't need. It doesn't take a lot, right? And there's a lot of great county parks and state parks where you can just get outside. And I think it's kind of like a drug. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna feel the benefits of it, and you're gonna want to do more. So it doesn't even matter where you start. Um, I'll also put a plug. I'm part of the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, and it's great maps and great resources to find parks and trails. Um, but there's just, in New Jersey, Bergen County, Passaic, Warren, Sussex, just many great hiking opportunities.
Yeah. What is the website for the trail conference?
NYNJTC.org. That's for the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference.
And for Team Wilderness, the website?
Teamwilderness.org.
And so there's a way for people to, if they wanted to get involved, there's opportunities for them to do that as well, right? But going to the website and checking you guys out.
Yes, teamwilderness.org. Lots of ways to support us, and reach out to me directly also if you'd like.
All right, so we end every show with three big little questions. Everyone gets the same questions. We'll do these rapid fire. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready? Okay.
I hope.
I feel like we just spent the last 24 minutes talking about this, but I'm going to ask you anyway because this is one of the questions. But how do you get yourself out of a bad mood?
I go for a walk.
Yeah. Is there a place that you go to though? Is there like if you're in between Zoom calls and just got to do a reset, is there like a quick place that you go to that like helps you get that instant fix that you need?
I have a local county park a block away from me where I'll go.
And that's it.
But I can go for a walk anywhere, and it doesn't matter. Around the block, local park, and if I have a weekend, I'll go somewhere a little, more adventurous.
Yeah. Okay. What is your go-to karaoke song?
I'm gonna go with REM. We didn't start the fire.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry.
no.
That's not REM. REM. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Okay. Okay. And there was a part of me that thought you were going to say these boots were made for walking.
Oh,
No. Okay.
I don't have that voice.
That was bad. Yeah. Okay. And what is your, this will be hard for you, but what is one of your favorite spots in New Jersey? It doesn't have to be a hiking spot. Just, it could be a restaurant. It could be a town. It could be a downtown. It could be anything. What's one of your favorite spots?
Hmm. My favorite spot is a hiking spot. It
Okay.
is called Raccoon Ridge, and it happens to be on the Appalachian Trail, and it's I maintain that little section, and I just love going there. I could spend hours there.
How often do you go up there?
It's in the Delaware Water Gap area.
And how often are you there? You're there pretty often, I feel like, right?
3, 4 times a year.
Nice. Nice. Juan, thank you so much for chatting with me. This has been so fun.
Ivy, it was a lot of fun.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I'll see you probably like in an hour on a Zoom call. So, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And that is it for this week's Big Little Stories. I'm Ivy Sharmetz. I will talk to you next time.